It is now 10 a.m. Good morning and welcome to the 2025 annual membership meeting of the Fairfield Glade Community Club. My name is Barbara Storer and I am the secretary for the Community Club Board of Directors. The 2025 annual membership meeting of the Fairfield Glade Community Club will come to order. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be posted in the Community Club website for members viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those serving in uniform. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This morning, in addition to myself, the following members of the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors are present. Ellen Anderson, declarant representative, is on the phone. Ellen is the daughter of our developer, Tom Anderson, and she lives in New York City. Monica Heisel, and if you'll all stand up that's here, Monica Heisel is a director at large. M.K. Jacobson, director at large. Scott Hartema, vice president. Bruce Horn, treasurer. And Greg Jones, president. Thank you. Mark McLean, the Windham Resort Manager, is here as well. Mark, if you'll stand up, please. And Mark will be taking my place on the board. He's the manager of the Windham Resort. Thank you. Bill Ward, our COO, General Manager, is also present. Thank you, Bill. Bill, please introduce the members of the senior management team who are present.
Thank you, Barb. Good morning, and thank all of you for being here, those of you here in person and those of you joining us live stream. I did want to take this opportunity to acknowledge our senior management team. If I may, our Executive Administrative Manager, Pat Davis, if you would stand and remain standing, please. Pat has been employed at Fairfield Glade Community Club for 47 years. Our Director of Golf, Jeff Houston. Jeff is approaching his 26th year anniversary and also his 10th year anniversary as our Director of Golf. Our Chief of Police, Kate Self. In a couple of weeks, Kate will be celebrating her 10th anniversary of employment and her 3rd year as the police chief anniversary. Mr. Bruce Evans, our Director of Public Works. Bruce has been at Fairfield Glade for 14 years. He has served as the Director of Wastewater since 2014 and as the Director of Public Works as of the 1st of this year. Mr. William Taylor. William has served as the Director of Racquet Sports for coming up on 14 and a half years. Unfortunately, our Director of Marketing and Events, Mary Jo Page, is unable to be with us today, but Mary Jo has been with us now for 12 years in that position. I'd also like to our Director of Human Resources, Candace Neely. Candace has now been with us for 1 year. So proud to have her with us. And our Chief Financial Officer, Jason Lambert. Jason's in the back. Jason will be approaching his one-year anniversary as well. So thank you all, and thank you to our senior management team for the leadership and everything you bring to our success of our operations. Thank you. I now allow me to turn it over to the club president, Greg Jones. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, welcome to everybody who showed up today. Really glad to have all of you here. Those of you that are watching on the streaming, we're glad to have you participate and be here as well. Thank you, Bill, and good morning to everyone. As required by Article 3, Section 3.02 of the Fairfield Glade Community Club bylaws, an annual meeting of the Fairfield Glade Community Club membership will be conducted on the third Friday of September of each year. The purpose of the annual membership meeting is to provide the membership with a report on the financial condition of the community club, announce the results of the elections of directors, and this year the results of the vote to amend the covenants and restrictions. Consistent with the 2025 annual membership meeting notice, there are no other matters for membership consideration in today's agenda. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2024 annual membership meeting held on September 20th, 2024? Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's always an exciting thing to find out if we get those minutes passed. Okay. The minutes of September 20th, 2024 annual membership meeting are approved. In our audience today, we have two of our commissioners, 9th District County Commissioner John Patterson. Are you here today? I think so. Stand up if you are. Okay, John maybe didn't make it then. Joe Sherrill. Okay, and he's our 9th District County Commissioner as well. I would like to share the following comments with you as we take a look at the year in review. As we stand before you today, we can report that on a national scene, 2025 was a year that continued to be filled with a sense of uncertainty. News cycles were dominated by the unpredictability of rising prices driven by continued and unexpected interruptions in the global supply chain, the impact of tariffs, and higher than expected interest rates here at home. However, we can report that the state of the community club is financially strong. At the end of 2024 and entering into 2025, our financial position was as strong as it ever has been. We took advantage of our financial performance for 2024 to add an additional $76,000 to our operating reserves. Our operating reserves stand now at a total of $5.75 million at the beginning of 2025. These reserves are utilized to fund used to fund the 10-year capital plan as well as the reserve study. These resources provide the community club a solid base for funding our future reserve study projects, meeting our capital plan project needs, and giving us a clear line of sight for 2026 and beyond for capital planning. Examples of capital expenditures for 25-26 are the Druid Hills Clubhouse, which is being financed by a construction loan of up to $16.3 million, and eventually this construction loan will be converted into a 20-year fixed loan at some point when construction is finished. Our new Fire Station 1 Emergency Services Building expenditure is planned to be approved at the October board meeting, and construction on that should begin very shortly. And for the third straight year, the annual funding associated with the reserve study projects will be a part of the 2026 budget. Then something happened on July 27th. Windham announced that they were closing their timeshare business here at Fairfield Glade as of December 31st, 2025. Before I go into how we are dealing with that announcement, it is important to go over a few metrics so that the membership can get a better understanding where we are fiscally positioned for the impact of Windham's announcement. The numbers I'm quoting are actuals through July 31st, 2025. New housing starts were at 71, which is 6% higher than the same time in 2024. This is important because it shows growth. There were 805 property transfers, which was a 40% increase over 2024 and generated $1.3 million in amenity reserve fees, which is a 272% increase over the same time last year. Many of you will remember we instituted a higher amenity reserve fee for the closing on homes in July of 2024. That's why that number is so much higher. The amenity reserve fees comprise 36% of all capital dollars, which was an increase of 24% over 2024. This shows that the financial goals for raising the amenity reserve fee is being met, or are being met. Operating revenues for POA and amenities were $13.9 million, a 6% increase over 2024, and capital assessments also were a 6% increase and were $1.6 million. Now I'm going to get into a couple of metrics here, and I'm going to try to make them simple. They're going to be anatomically correct, but we're not going to make you all financial analysts in one day. So bear with me, and we'll try to make sure that you understand what the impact of these are. Our debt to equity ratio is a number 0.28 in 2025 versus 0.21 in 2024. What is the debt to equity ratio? It determines an organization's financial risk by looking at the total amount that an organization owns, which we call assets, and compares that to what the organization owes, which we call liabilities, which results in the organization's net worth. Now, this number varies depending on the industry, but for organizations like ours, anything under 1 is considered to be very good, and we're at 0.28. That tells you that we're fiscally very stable, and bottom line, what that really means is if we ever were in a need to get money, lenders would be happy to give it to us. Now, we manage the debt, and we're not trying to get into a lot of debt, but it's very important that we have that kind of situation with our potential lenders. Another metric that we look at is what's called the current ratio, which stands for us at 8.02. What this means is that we have over 8 times the assets to cover our liabilities. A good number here would be anything over 2, and we're at 8. This metric shows that we're a very financially stable organization, and we can easily cover our short-term liabilities with liquid assets. So we don't have to go out and get loans to cover a lot of things. Many organizations would love to be in the position of those 2 metrics. What does all this tell us? We are a financially stable organization based on our current financial model. However, as we progress through 2025 and we're confronted with the reality of Windham's exit for the timeshares business here at Fairfield Glade, we are reassessing each of our planned projects for 25 and 26, and in some cases 2027, to determine if the project expense is critical to our operation. As a result, some of our projects planned for 2025 through 2027 are being considered for either multiple phases or deferred completely. Major initiatives and projects for 24 and 25. The impact of the Windham timeshare exit. The biggest event of the year has been the announcement of the Club Windham that they will be closing the timeshare business here at Fairfield Glade. Club Windham timeshare guests represent about 11.3% of Fairfield Glade's total revenue. That's not a small number. There are few, if any, organizations that can absorb an 11.3% reduction in revenue and not be impacted. We are not one of those that can ignore ignore the impact. We are not involved in Windham's business management of the timeshares, so we have limited knowledge of what Windham is going to do, and that greatly impacts our ability to plan. Here is what we do know. And some of this is going to sound awfully familiar because we haven't gotten a whole bunch of updates. Windham has announced they are going to exit the timeshare business at Fairfield Glade as of 12/31/2025. They plan on filing bankruptcy, but as of this date, we can see nothing that they've filed anything as of yet. There's a lot of work they got to do before they can make a filing for bankruptcy. The lots that Windham currently owns are not anticipated to be part of the bankruptcy filing. That's the 1,241 lots that they own that they pay assessments on. Windham has met at least 2 times with the timeshare HOAs, and they're working through the process of how they're going to deal with the deeds and all of that. What are we doing? We are looking at multiple scenarios with what little information we have from Windham and developing contingency plans. And I attended the FAC meeting yesterday, And I was very pleased with the way the FAC was looking at this and the options they were considering. There's very little that's not on the table at this point, and we're going to have to work through all of that, and that's going to take us a little time. The proposed budget will be presented to the membership at the annual budget presentation on Thursday, November 13th, here at the center. And we'll get you the time out. We've got to get all that worked out, but it's going to be on November 13th, which is the Thursday. We will be prepared to be flexible in our planning based on any additional information we get from Windham as the situation plays out. What we do know is that it will not be business as usual situation either in the short run or the long term. This is going to be a major impact to us, and we're going to have to come together as a community and really work through how we're going to do this. The reserve study. Throughout this year, we have continued to complete maintenance projects identified in the reserve study to preserve and maintain our facilities. Some additional work was done to equipment that had failed prior to the replacement date, as noted in the original study. We're planning on an update of the reserve study during 2026, and that's something we promised the membership when we received the first reserve study, that within about 3 years, which was 3 years ago, 2023, that we got the study, that we would refresh it and take a look at the assets again. This document is, of course, critical to identifying the priority maintenance issues that will save us money in the long run by preserving our facilities and conducting preventive maintenance on our equipment. The reserve study projects will continue to be a budget priority for 2026. Druid Hills Golf Complex. If you've not been down to Druid Hills to see the work, it's well worth the trip. You're actually seeing some things come up out of the ground now. The elevator shaft is there, so we're making progress. Druid has been a real success story for us. The first phases of the project, which included the driving range improvements, the quarry putting course, and the golf garage, were completed on time and cumulatively under budget. Revenue from the golf garage was already in July at 80% of the whole year budget. That's a real success story of what was anticipated for the entire year. For the Druid Hills Clubhouse, we are using an outside general contractor who is working with our internal project management team. This has created really the best of all worlds. I attended the project update yesterday, and as aspects of the clubhouse construction are on time, all aspects of the clubhouse construction are on time and on budget. This looks like a model that we will follow with future large projects. Fire Station 1 Emergency Services Complex. The Fire Station 1 EMS project has been in planning process over the past year and is planned to be approved to move forward with construction at the October board meeting. The current fire station is located on land owned by the declarant, and the building itself is no longer suitable for housing the EMS personnel and the equipment for our volunteer fire department. This is an essential project for our community and will be continued in 2026. Transfer of common property from Windham. According to the CNRs, when they were originally written, many, many years ago, 1997 as a matter of fact, it was anticipated that all the common property would be owned by the community club. For whatever reason, I don't know, and I can't find anybody who's been around. Maybe Pat has been around long enough to be able to tell us why that happened. But the fact is that those properties were never turned over to us. Windham started that process last year, and now we're pretty much complete with those deeds coming over to us. They have paid the property taxes on those properties in 2025, and now they belong to the community club. As an initiative for 2026, we plan on physically identifying these locations and assess the state of these properties. Veterans Day dinner. We reinstated the traditional Veterans Day dinner, which drew a crowd of 550, and those of you that were there, I think it was a good time had by all, and provided our veterans an opportunity to share experiences and get together and really get to talk to one another about their service. The Fairfield Glade Police Department. Our police department earned its second Tennessee Law Enforcement Accreditation Program certification in 2024. The department also received the Tennessee Highway Safety Officers Award of first place in the officer category, and overall winner of the Cumberland program. Hurricane Helene relief. This is one that it's very easy to forget that this was less than a year ago that we were dealing with this. And this is one where the whole community really shined in terms of their response to this. Our community generously supported local relief efforts for the hurricane victims in East Tennessee. The Fairfield Glade Fire Department, Fairfield Glade Resident Services, and the Fairfield Glade Neighborhood Watch Coalition volunteered to collect, sort, and package all the donations. Our police department coordinated the effort and sent a crew of volunteers that took the donations to the Tennessee Disaster Relief Center in Bristol. I've talked to several people in different communities and that kind of thing, and they've just been amazed what this community came together to do for those victims. Proposed amendment to the covenants and restrictions. While this initiative created controversy in the community, the board and operations are committed to accept the results of the vote on the amendment and develop a plan to move forward in the best interest of the community. In appreciation, we want to thank all the members of the community club family, from Bill Ward, our COO general manager, to the members of the senior management team, who their experience here has been so valuable, and to each staff member of our community club team. You have risen to the challenge of providing consistent and exceptional member experiences with unwavering commitment to our members. We continue to be impressed and grateful for the dedicated service of over 100 plus fellow community club members that volunteer to participate in our board advisory committees. They put in your input and feedback are essential in part of the board's decision-making process. A personal thank you to my fellow board members. Each of you, and I can say this honestly, vigorously advocates your point of view and as we deliberate. But when it comes to making a decision, we consistently reach consensus around what is best for the community. It has really been a privilege to serve as your president of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Finally, we want to thank each one of you, the members of the community club who we represent. You have been resilient. We've been through a few things this year together. Very supportive, and we appreciate the confidence and trust you have expressed in us. That is our 2024-25 year in review. I'll now introduce Bruce Horn to come up and give the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Greg. It was a great lead into another great piece of information that I get to share with the community club. The audit review or audit report of 2024. Some of what Greg was speaking to about what had gone on or where we're at today was a result of some of that good work that came about in 2024 in our financials. So let me start by telling you about, well, let me get back here, get logged in. There we go. Somebody's phone is working. So, the Coulter and Justice are auditors, and they're we're in their final year of the contract with them. We've extended for 1 year so that in 2025 audit, they are going to do our audit for us again. And that's because of the transition that we had. You heard about Bill coming on board and Jason and Candace and the changes that we went through. It was determined that it's in our best interest and the community club's best interest to go 1 more year with them, and then the following year we will have an RFP out for another auditing firm. Come here. Now, I won't read all of those words, but as a reminder that the entire audit report is on the member website, as well as previous years. So any of the comparisons you want to do on your own are there, because that paperwork and those details are there. What I'm going to present is the highlights of that audit report. But the best part of all of these is the last sentences in all of these next few slides, that it's a clean audit. You should feel really good about that, because you don't want surprises that there's any changes. You know, you don't want to get excited about an audit report that says, oops, or take a look at that. The audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for audit opinion. They compared, we have statistics comparing the numbers from 23, 24 in the audits. They looked at both of those to compare, make sure everything was in line. And supplementary information that might be of interest that was also reviewed. And now the big reveal. We're starting with the big numbers because that's what mostly impresses folks or want to know what's going on. These numbers reflect cash, net properties and equipment we bought, long-term debt, that's a nice zero for 23-24 comparison. Members' equity, 3% over the previous year. Cash and cash equivalents are 8% over the previous year. And I'm using percentages because that was the, we find percentages as Greg used in his report, it's more striking. You can see which direction we're going. Now we have a trend program, if you will, a way to look at how we're improving or where there's deficiencies that we may want to look at. So again, it's a beautiful, beautiful set of numbers for the 24 audit. Let's take a look though at what the what member equity is, because this is an important piece that this came up last year. One of our members wasn't quite sure on the explanation or what was member equity. And for anybody that's new here in the last couple of years, if you're not aware, we are a 501c4 social welfare organization, not for profit. It is for the members. Each one of us is a shareholder, if you will, but we're also a contributor to the equity in this place, this community. And we're involved in the mission, the governance. Members' equity refers to the residual interest in the organization's resources, all of it. Now, it's not just cash. It's not just the liquid assets or the buildings and the like. Part of it is, obviously, the financial report, our dues. One thing to be clear on, as a 501c4, we don't have dues. We are a property owners association. We pay assessments. It's easier to say dues because you can get in trouble if you don't pronounce assessments correctly. But here's the other part of it. Here's these, they want to say intangibles at times, but these are not. This is what each one of you and us do for and in the community. Everything we do contributes to the equity that we enjoy in this community. Those committee works. Greg mentioned all the work with the FAC and the Strategic Planning Committee. All of these people are volunteers. They're all you, us. We do this for our community. And we do it for free. We do it because of the investment we are making in this thing we call Fairfield Glade. And it's that governance participation. The vote, it was gratifying to see that there were issues that raised the amount of interest in voting. It was great. Whatever the results is, the important thing is you participate in the involvement of this community. But that means it's incumbent upon each one of us to be involved, to do that work. And the things we do provide that more equity in the community. And the fun bits are, it's things that are fun. All the work we do on the committees, all of the participation in the clubs, and in the good works you do as volunteer work. That makes it a place where other people want to come and buy homes and build homes and buy a piece of property and be part of this. I can't emphasize how much these intangibles mean to the value of the community. It's not just those hard dollars. That's quantifiable on a spreadsheet. This other part is the heart and soul of the community, and meaning we have to pull together. So on the POA side, we'll get now to the bits and bytes, if you will. The capital income includes assessments, lot merger fees, sewers or availability fees, interest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We stand at the end of 24, we were 34% ahead of the same point in time at the end of 2023. Nice number. Plus $4.5 million. PP&E, we spent $3 million, $3.8 million more investment, more in 24 than at the end of the year than we did in 2023. That's stuff now that we own. Those are assets. Debt service, 0. Another nice number to have. Now, some of this, let me back up for just a moment. Did I do it here? These purchases include acquisition of property, machinery, things that that move or don't move. But so these are investments in hard assets. Just as a reminder, those trucks and buildings. Sewer balance sheet, another great number. Cash on hand, that was 24% over the previous year, $4.5 million. The property and equipment, this is fun because the 10.7 million as a negative number, that means that we spent less than the previous year. That's a good negative number, and we still came out with great cash. Our members' equity, we lost 2% through disposal of assets, and that's an accounting function that has to be removed from the balance sheet. It was either disposed of, retired from service, given away. Those have to be removed from the balance sheet, and that's an auditing and accounting function, that isn't bad. It's just we got rid of old stuff and got new stuff. Sewer service fees, again, 6% above the previous year, $3.2 million. PP&E purchases. Again, we didn't buy anything. That's a savings, because we did everything previously. When you look at the property and equipment, we had retired some. We bought a bunch of new stuff, new meaning materials, so that sewer department can do what they need to do, sewer and wastewater, and put in new lines. So that's a good number in that we didn't need it for the end of the year. The big deal is about internal controls. We've got very good internal controls, and since Jason has come on board and Bill have come on board, we've added and even done more in the finance department to make sure that we've got eyes and hands and controls in place, and people to help do the work to keep us on track the way we're going. The financial statements are reviewed monthly by the FAC and the Board of Directors. Third Thursday of every month, everybody gets together. We review everything. We review it before anything comes before the board. So we know what's going on, and if there's anything that we need to address, we address it as quickly as possible, with a lot of people looking at it. 2 signatures required on checks over $100,000. And all of us have background checks. Anybody that signs checks or is involved in the money has a complete background check. Board president and/or the treasurer must approve all investments. I must say that part of the very good news is that since Jason has come on board, our whole process has been improved, and I'm very, very pleased with our results, and it shows up in our audits, and it shows up in our results. Few of the 2024 expenditures. I had this added just to show anything over $100,000 and it's not all of them, but it's the significant ones. The last one here, the Druid Hills Complex, obviously that's over. That's because it went, we started the work, and there's carryover, of course, from the previous year. But it's all of the pre-construction work that was done. It's not behind budget, because now we're back on budget now that we're under construction. So this is a 2024 comparison, or just an idea to show what was going on. Highlights, just as Greg mentioned, he got to say all of the good stuff about all these programs, but they're significant in that these things, this had not been done for a long time. It had been adopted, and now the other part of this, the roadmap, has been developed. And we know what we wanted to do, and in light of what's happening that we didn't know, that surprised us, that strategic roadmap then is reviewed too. We had these things in place, so we know what to do. You can't plan for an emergency, but you've got the tools now to deal with it. The same way with the reserve study. Now that we had that done and funded, we know what we can move and can't move. That's part of the review that goes on. That's what our general manager does. And of course, the 10-year capital plan that started the whole process. This was a quick look from a guide of where we are with cash and cash equivalents for 2024, for the year. It's just a snapshot for the first 8 months, showing graphically our funds. The POA amenities and operating are at, they're at $7.5 million. The POA capital reserves are 5 to 7, and the operating sewer, it went from started at 1 and it's up to 6 or 1.6, and the capital reserves went up as well over the time. What I'm trying to convey here is that even going into these first 8 months, we're doing very well. We're funding everything that we need to fund. We're watching now what we can and cannot do or what we want to delay. But we are right on track. This is very, very positive indication of where we are. So, and I'm reiterating what Greg had said, we are financially strong. The audit, the 24 audit shows that. This is history, and he was telling you current, and it's the same message. We are financially strong. Our cash position is very good. We are effectively managing the POA and sewer assets, our existing assets, and we're paying attention to what needs to be done with them and enhance them. And of course, the big one, very important, our members, all of our equity, our total assets and the value of all of this is increasing. It's not decreasing. And that's the momentum that we want to keep. That's the end of 2024. We're the same path in 25, despite the surprises. And we have strong internal controls, and that isn't going away. That's not being diminished. We have got really good internal controls, and our auditors told us that as well. That's it. Now again, these audit reports, all 22 pages of this last audit have been up there since the end of May. I have received no questions on them, so it must have been fascinating reading for the membership. So, oh, did it change? Oh, it went to the 19th? 16th? Oops, I apologize. I didn't get the memo. So it's the 13th. So mark your calendars and send me a reminder to update the, okay? But at least the address is right. So if you've got a problem, send it. And the good news, if you use that email address, that I will certainly get it, but it will be distributed to the, any of those questions or concerns you have will be distributed to the appropriate department for review. If I can't answer it, we'll get somebody that can, and it'll be covered. So, in conclusion, I'm sure there's a couple of questions. I would like to keep it short. We do have another piece of business following the Q&A, but if there's a couple of quick questions, we can try and give it a shot for you. Yes, sir, your name and
My name's James Kozlowski. I've been here in the Glade for about 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Do those numbers of the income, the money that we have, does that include the $5,000 amenity fee that's being charged at this point?
The
amenity reserve fee?
It didn't start, the short answer is there's always been amenity fee. Well, it's been a transfer fee.
Right.
But, Jason, when did we pull that in?
July of '24 is when the,
Yeah,
Well, I'm new.
so it was mid-year in '24.
Right. And I'm new, and I'm a real estate broker, a new real estate broker here in Tennessee. And who do you think pays for that? Do you think the buyers are? Or do you think the sellers are paying $5,000 out of their sales price as a get out of the Glade fee, is my question. And since we're doing so well, why do we need $5,000? Why not keep it where it was? Those are my questions.
Why don't you, can you want to, yeah, let's go ahead and hold that question.
I've been holding it.
We'll get to it.
Thank you.
I'm John Anderson. We've been
I
here.
can't hear you.
My name is John Anderson. We've been here a grand total of 3 weeks and 5 days. Thank you. My question, sir, was about last year during the meeting. There were 2 questions to you that you deferred and said, I'll get back to you. There wasn't any note made that you actually satisfied the questioner's request in last year's meeting. Could you comment on that? One about the amenity reserves and the other about reserves for dams. Those were the 2 items in last year's meeting minutes. I just didn't know if there's a process for telling us whether you have followed through on commitments made in meetings like this. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Bruce. Mark Toon. I have a question. I appreciate that the audit was clean, and I appreciate your slide on internal controls. My question is, do the auditors submit a report to management addressing any material or significant deficiencies in internal controls? I've looked on the website. I've never been able to see a report. It's required by auditing standards. So my question is there a report and will it be made public?
Well, one, we didn't have one, so they didn't find anything, or I would feel obligated to mention if we had, absolutely. But no, we did not have any concerns or any material concerns about that. Jason, as an auditor, active auditor yourself, do you want to comment on that?
Yep. There were no identified significant deficiencies by the auditors. Had there been, they would have reported it to the board, which would have been made public.
Yeah. I got that one right because it was easy.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
My husband and I moved here 4 years ago, and this is my first attending this annual meeting. My name is Gloria Hutcherson. So now I'm looking your numbers and everything, and I heard that the club is doing very well. My question is, maybe I'm not fully informed, or I am ignorant, or I read papers, the local papers. What is the plan, really, of improving our roads? Because now I see that you're doing this Stonehenge area, and which is fine, great. But there are other roads, not like that in Stonehenge, meaning that could be a main road. Westchester Drive is a main road. But what about the roads in other areas? Like, I don't want to tell you where I live, but the houses in my area are selling over $1 million. And if I am looking for that $1 million, I'm not going to buy that house because the road is terrible.
Yes, ma'am. And you're not alone. There is a lot of problems with roads, and we don't control the roads. They're county roads. We do what we can. We put in several $100,000 a year to do what we can with the roads. The county makes a list of roads that they can attend to, and it's tough. This is an ongoing problem that we can't fix either. We do what we can do. I'm sorry.
Okay, is there a information which roads are
county
controlled by the
commissioners.
county? No, I'm sorry. Is there an information we can find out which roads are controlled by the county? All of them? All of them. Okay, because if that's the case, I would like to go and attend a commissioner meeting
I
in
wish you
town,
would. Go
and
to
I will impress upon Mayor Allen Foster.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Yep.
Why is Fairfield Glade has terrible roads? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I tell you what, do you want to do get it? Yeah. We'd like to get something done.
I just want to, before we get to the election committee results and on the vote, we do have an important announcement for the community that I want to share with you, and I'm going to turn it over now to our Chief of Police, Kate Zell.
Sorry, I'm short. Can everyone hear me? Good morning. It's so nice to see so familiar faces and some new. Those who are new being here, thank you. I appreciate the board offering me some time to speak on behalf of you this morning. I have a quick statement I would like to give you guys. I'm so proud to share some exciting news with our community. The Fairfield Glade Police Department is one step closer to implementing our very own emergency medical response program. This initiative has been in the works for some time, a long time. And I am pleased to announce 3 of our officers, Officer Murphy, Officer Van Trump, and Officer Brendel, who is in our back right now. Thank you, Brendel. They have successfully completed their training and passed the Tennessee State Registry test, which is no easy defeat. You can ask him. This accomplishment marks a significant milestone, not only for the officers who dedicated themselves to achieving this certification, but also for their entire community. Once in place, the EMR program will allow officers to respond even more efficiently and effectively in times of medical emergencies, providing immediate care when seconds can matter. The next step in this process will be finalizing and signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. We are committed to working through this final stage and as quickly as we can to make sure that this vital service is provided to our residents. I want to commend our 3 graduates for their hard work and determination, and I want to thank our community, because without your support and your continuous faith in our department, we would not be able to enhance our safety, service, and efforts to our community to ensure that together we are providing a better and stronger future for Fairfield Glade. So again, I would like you to please give a round of applause to our 3 graduates. And again, everyone's continued support of our agency. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without the board, and also along with my peers with the SMT. Again, and we are looking for another great and bright future for Fairfield Glade. Thank you. Thank you.
And I also want to add that the Fairfield Glade Fire Department is also in the process. Chief Kate had led the process for the police department's certification and training for EMR, but the fire department is in the process now of getting their memo of understanding approved through Chris Miller and the county, and we'll be adding those additional trained, certified volunteers of the fire department. So we'll have dual EMR collaborative fronts between the fire department and the police department to service the community. So it's a wonderful thing. We're great responding to the input of the community, of you, and the importance of safety in this community, and we're just wanted to share that milestone with you. So thank you very much.
Along with that, I would add, there's still a lot of work to do. We got to get protocols defined and all that kind of thing, processes on how this is all going to work with the county and the fire department and the police department. So there's still work to do, but I'll steal a quote from Alan Foster, our mayor, Cumberland County mayor, when he presented this program to the county. He said, this program will clearly save lives, and it will. I can't tell you enough how much Kate and the police department really went through this to get this program into the community, and the fire department is right there with them, doing all the same things. This will be a program that we can be very, very proud of, and it should start just as quickly as we possibly can get everything worked out. So I want to go ahead on behalf of the board and thank all the work, Kate, that you and your department did. Bill, I'd like to thank you for your leadership. Jason, I'd even like to thank you for making sure the money was there. So this is really an important program, and I can't emphasize enough. Number one, when we did a survey a couple years ago, the number one thing on people's minds was safety and health-related items. This is a program that's going to address a lot of that. So, very good. Well, I got some sad news to do today. We want to acknowledge the 11 years of service of our board member, Barb Storer. In addition to being the timeshare representative on the board, Barb has served 2 years as our board secretary. Now, she didn't do 11 years consecutively. We don't allow that to happen. So this is about her, what, 4th time? And she's always had to take a break in between. So that's how you get to 11 years. So don't think that we've just put her on there for 12 years. She's really been dedicated and selfless in giving her time and talents to our community. It's really been a pleasure working with Barb. She and I started on the board for her last hitch the same time. So I still have 1 more year, and she's rolling off. You have been a great partner and advisor to all of us. We will miss your insightful comments and sound advice that help guide our decision-making. One person that normally doesn't get recognized in these things, and we want to take the time, is the person sitting right behind Barb. We also want to thank Gary Storer. And so raise your hand, Gary. Just let him know you're there. We want to thank him for sharing Barb with us. And we're very aware of the time commitment it takes to be a board member. And we want to acknowledge the impact and sacrifices made by the spouse and the family of the board member. So please join me in saying thank you to Barb for her tireless service to our community. Come on. We have a couple things to give Barb. We've been traditionally doing this, and I don't know if the inventory's got to be going down, but these are the Druid Hills Club Fairfield Glade metal plates. I expect every time that you have dinner now, when you and Gary, you'll be being served off of these. So there you go.
Oh, I do collect aluminum at our house.
Okay. And something that's a little bit friendlier for you to use, okay?
Well, thank you.
Barb, if you'd like to say a few words.
I would actually. I'd like to let you know what I do know about the Windham timeshares. We have 8 associations, 487 units, and we voted to retain a law firm and a real estate agency, and we also voted to go into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that will probably take about a year. When I first got on the board, the president of the board asked me to make a report of the Windham visitors each month and the amenities and food and beverage like revenue. And Windham visitors each year have contributed over $1.5 million to this community. And I don't think a lot of residents realized that until I started making that report. So it's very important to know kind of what we're losing, and we're hoping in the near future we can get someone else to buy it and start it again. But in the meantime, we do plan on next year having security and also maintenance keep up the resort. We are having a meeting. The 8 associations for 3 days are having a Zoom meeting with the owners, October 8th, 9th, and 10th, to discuss what the timeshare owners will do. I know a lot of you came here as a result of being a visitor or an owner of the timeshares. That's exactly how we got here. We came in 1977 our first time, and then bought in the 80s. Timeshare bought our lot in the 90s and moved here in the 2000s. We've been here 18 years now. And I'd like to show our appreciation for all the support you all have given my husband and I. We had a terrible accident 8 years ago on Peavine Road, and your support, prayers, and kindness have been very close to our hearts, and I appreciate it. And I will miss terribly being on this board. It's been a great opportunity. Thank you all so much.
Well, we still have a couple things left to do. At this point, what I'd like to do is introduce Kathy Tipton, who's the chair for the 2025 Election Committee, to present the 2025 election results. Kathy?
Good morning. In accordance with Section 4.07B of the current bylaws of the Fairfield Glade Community Club, it is the responsibility of the Election Committee to oversee the election and collection of ballots on behalf of the Community Club. I would first like to introduce the other members of the 2025 Election Committee. If you could please stand. Jean Donovan, who is unable to be with us tonight. Sue Epler, over here. Dwight Merrick, who I believe is unable to be with us today, not tonight. Mike Sharrow. Mike, are you here? And we have staff support of the committee. We have Pat Davis, who acts as our secretary. Adrian Salmon, and Greg Jones is our liaison. Greg, thank you. The Community Club Board of Directors consists of 5 property owner at-large directors, 1 declarant director, and 1 interval owner director. Each director is responsible for representing the needs of the entire community. In 2025, 1 property owner at-large director position was open for election. At the end of the application period, which ended Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, 2 candidates had applied for the 1 available at-large community position requiring that an election be held. There was also 1 declarant nominee and 1 interval owner nominee. I will now introduce Kenneth Chadwell, who will announce the election results. Kenneth?
I'm Kenneth Chadwell, the club's legal counsel. All election results are sent to my attention from Survey and Ballot Systems. That's the company that conducted and administrated the election process on behalf of the club. Those results were overnighted to me. No one knows the results but me. I'm now presenting them to you for the first time. The official result binders, as soon as I'm finished, will be handed over to Miss Kathy. There she is. And they will be verified and reviewed by the election committee, and then will promptly be made available for a member review online. I'm not here to read all the data. There are a lot of statistics in here, but all of that, we always get these questions, you know, can I see, can I see? Yes, you can, and fairly quickly. But there's a process for that, and it will be made available. For the 2025 board election, there were 11,736 eligible votes available. Those are the votes entitled to be cast. There were 6,908 eligible votes cast. That's a participation rate, as far as the votes are concerned, of 58.86%. And let me read one more statistic, Ms. Kathy, so there's no confusion. As you know, especially with a couple of particular entities, there are some eligible voters that have more than one vote, okay? So what that translates to is 8,200 eligible voters, 4,036 of which voted. So that gives you a voter participation rate of 49.22%, which is still a high number. Accordingly, I hereby certify that the quorum has been met for our vote this year. Section 3.08 of the club's bylaws states that the quorum requirement of 10% of votes entitled to be cast, obviously we well exceeded that. Therefore, the quorum requirement has been met. Now for the results. For the at-large director position, in second place is Mr. Bruce Horn, receiving 2,874 votes. In first place is Mr. Isaac Zerker. Mr. Zerker received 3,891 votes. For the declarant director position, Ellen Anderson, she received 4,786 votes. She does, of course, retain that position. For the interval owner director position, Mr. Mark McLean received 4,993 votes. And we do thank Barb for her service and sacrifice to the board. We welcome Mr. McLean. We congratulate Mr. Isaac Zerker. Is he here? Okay. We congratulate Ellen Anderson. We congratulate Mark McLean. And we do want to thank Bruce for his sacrifice and service to the board. We move on now to the amendment. That's a different binder. On the amendment received 662 yes votes. The amendment received 3,341 no votes. Total votes cast were 4,036. The amendment fails by 83.5%. The approval rating on the amendment was only 16.5%. That number needed to be 75% in order to pass. So, not to confuse anybody, the amendment failed. The amendment did not pass. I will now turn our meeting back over to Mr. Gregg.
Thank you, Kenneth. And I would like to congratulate Isaac Zerker, Mark McLean, and Ellen Anderson. We welcome you to the Board of Directors, and we're all looking forward to working with you. Bruce, I just want to say thank you so much for your service. Not only have you been a great board member, you've been a good friend and a good advisor, and you'll sorely be missed on the board. I would like to thank this year's election committee. Most of you don't realize it, but in the CNRs, which are our main governing documents, there are only two committees that are noted in that document. One is the ACC committee, and the other is the election committee. That's because the people that were founding members, if you will, thought it had to be an independent type of thing. And you notice I'm board liaison. The election committee actually runs the elections. So I can give them advice, but at the end of the day, it's their call. So they have a lot of responsibility, and those people work very, very, very hard. And this year particularly, you guys had to work even overtime because of the fact that we not only had an election for at-large board director, but we also had a CNR change or amendment proposed. So I want to say that the communications that you guys put out throughout the process was superb. I thought we did a great job last year. We surpassed that even this year. And I can't thank you enough for a job well done. Okay, we have on the agenda now the time where we'll recognize community club members to share comments. Please limit your comments to no longer than 2 minutes. So you're going to have to come up to one of the microphones and you'll have to state your name, okay?
Good morning. My name is Joe Fitzgerald, and I've been a resident of Fairfield Glade for the last 8 years. Before I continue, I'd like to make a note of information I want to share with you. The current information that I have to present is intentionally not correct. It is not intentional that it's over the past year and a half, I've made repeated requests for information from the FGCC. Those requests have been denied, citing that their 501c3 status, private matters, and work in progress are the reasons. Similar requests have been made to the county, have met with claims that the documents, arrangements, work schedules in question do not exist. Fortunately, the state law provides residents with rights under the Tennessee Open Records Act when dealing with public entities, and I intend to continue to pursue it in that process. My concern is Fairfield Glade's infrastructure, especially the roads. When I first moved here, Peavine Road nearly convinced me not to purchase a home. Roads are the first thing that people see because everybody uses them. Even Windham has identified infrastructure as a concern. Some of our infrastructure is over 50 years old, and I argue that water, electricity, and roads are far more critical to our community's future than golf courses, pools, or lakes. If infrastructure is not maintained and updated, nothing else truly functions. Recent events highlight this reality. Multiple water main breaks within the last 6 months, recurring electrical outages, and worsening road conditions. Our water is supplied by a private company, our electricity is supplied by a co-op, and our roads fall under the jurisdiction of the county. None of all three would deserve a high rating at this particular point. The roads, however, are especially troubling question. Fairfield Glade contains more than 220 miles of road in various conditions. I was told that the county chips approximately 5 miles of road a year, and the paving process covers even less than that. At that pace, especially with new roads still being added, it would be roughly 30 years to complete a full cycle of road maintenance. Excuse me. After COVID, paving resumed in Fairfield Glade. Within 2 years, Mountain View Road, Wallingford Ridge Road, Trent Ridge Road, and Rotterdam Road were resurfaced. At that point, I began to ask myself, why wasn't my road, Trentwood Road, included in that process? I wanted to know how the paving decisions were made, and after meetings, callings, and writings to various community club staff members, past and present, I came away with very little clarity. Ultimately, it all comes down to money. The old saying is, follow the money. Okay. In Tennessee, road projects are generally funded in two ways: through state gas tax, EV taxes, along with county taxes such as property tax. Fairfield Glade, however, is different. Each year, the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board budgets more than $700,000 to supplement county road paving and maintenance. The Fairfield Glade Community Club then patches the roads and contracts out with paving work for the paving work, most recently with Rogers Construction. This means that Fairfield Glade residents fund road maintenance three ways: through state gas taxes, EV taxes, through county property taxes, and again through our POA fees, over $700,000 annually. When I talk to fellow residents, the condition, repair, and maintenance of our roads remain a constant concern. People naturally ask, what are we getting for our money? The board often responds that the paving decisions are controlled by the county. While this may be partially true, I believe that if Fairfield Glade residents supplement county efforts to the tune of $700,000 annually, they should have meaningful input and control. At a minimum, Fairfield Glade Community Club should have a written agreement with the county, but currently no such agreement exists. That leads me to several important questions. Why is there no written agreement between the Fairfield Glade Community Club and Cumberland County regarding the paving roads in Fairfield Glade? How is any unused balance of the funds appropriated handled? What process does the Fairfield Glade Community Club use to determine which roads are prioritized for paving? And why doesn't the board publish a list of roads scheduling for paving each year? Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope these questions will be addressed openly and clearly for the benefits of all the Fairfield Glade residents. Thank you.
Okay, there's a lot in that, and I understand, but there's a lot in those three questions. So rather than try to go through all of that today, because we want to get the right data, what I'll do is I'll make sure that we have this as a board item in an upcoming board meeting to address all of those questions. And it'll be on the agenda so that you'll be able to get the total answers. Okay? Yeah, could you please submit in writing to you can send it to me so I have your questions and we make sure we address them? Well, I'm sorry, sir. I haven't gotten it, so if you would please send it to me, we'll make sure it becomes a part of our board agenda. Okay? Thank you. And if you need to get my email, I'm more than happy to give it to you after the meeting. All right? All right. Any other comments or questions?
Ted Landers, I have a question. Can you tell us what's going on at the stables, please? Stable property, I should say property of it.
Okay. Well, actually, we've leased that property out to a farmer who's going to put cattle on it and graze it. We have not made a decision on the stables property at all. That's one of the reasons why we're in a lease arrangement that we can get out of if we need to. So what's down there, Bruce, maybe you're a better person to say what's going on with the equipment that's down there. You're going to have to come to a microphone here, okay? We got a lot of people that probably want to hear you.
Yeah, so the individual leasing the property has been clearing around all of the fence lines, redoing all of the barbed wire fence that originally held the horses on the property. He's had some heavy equipment down there to resurrect a pond that had been filled in by Mr. Cannon, the past operator of the facility. So he reconstituted, reconditioned a pond and just been trimming around the perimeter. He's mowing the lawn as well.
So who is paying for the fence that has been the old one removed and the new one that's barbed wire going up?
So the individual leasing the property is paying for everything. Fairfield Glade has not expended a dime. The only thing that we've provided so far are 2 culverts. There's a small pond on the east side of the property that was, the dam was in jeopardy because there was no overflow. And so he installed 2 culverts on that to make sure that the integrity of the dam was intact.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions on the Stables property? The lease is for 3 years currently.
And the lease can we have mechanisms to get out of the lease if we need to, okay? Any other comments or questions from the floor?
Trish Chambers, I don't know if I heard an answer to the gentleman's question about the dam reserves, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think he kind of deserves an answer
Yeah,
to that.
I was going to
All
go
right.
with that.
Okay, second of all, I shudder to do this, but I have to. I know everyone loves the deer around here. They're beautiful, they're wonderful. We love what they look like. I think we had a culling years and years ago, but I would ask that the board please look at another culling because they are quite numerous and they do cause some accidents. Thank you.
Okay. I will address the amenities the reserve fund charge. The intention of the board when the amenity reserve fee was kicked up to $5,000. It was $1,200 before that for A lots. There's less transfer fees for B and C lots. The original intent was for the home buyer to pay that fee. And that was the intent when it was $1,200. The same intent was there when it was $5,000. And as you know, in real estate transactions, all things are negotiable. So it's up to the realtor and the buyer and the realtor and the seller to come up with whatever deal they want to come up with. We don't dictate that. We cannot force where that's going to be paid from because that's all negotiable in any real estate transaction. So therefore, really, there's really nothing more to be said about it. It is a fee, and the fee is there. The intention was for the home buyer to buy it because it was a high. The whole reason why the amenity fee was even started, amenity reserve fee, was because the people that were here were paying for all of the capital expenditures and improvements on the property. And that means that people who would just come in all of a sudden got a free deal. And the idea behind the amenity reserve fee was to be a buy-in so that they helped support what the cost of putting all those amenities and investments are. Now, the amenity reserve fee, as by its name, can only be used for amenities. So if we wanted to build a road, for instance, that's not an amenity. If we wanted to put new stop signs in, that is not an amenity. Golf, racket sports, marinas, things like that, those are amenities. So that was the whole purpose of the thing, and that's what it is. How it's getting negotiated by realtors and buyers and sellers, that is completely out of our hands. You got to get a microphone. Yeah.
I don't think the fee is the question.
Well,
I don't believe the
Your
fee
name?
is.
Your name?
My name is James Kozlowski. I live in the Fairfield Glade.
Okay.
I am a broker here, real estate broker here in town, which has nothing to do with this, but I do see transactions. I think the problem is that we have no control over you raising, of the board getting together and saying we need 7,000 next year, or we need 8,000. This is something, when you start attaching fees to buyers and sellers who live in this area and live in the property, it should be their approval, not the board to arbitrarily decide. And that's the problem. I mean, if your cable bill went from $120 to $500 a month, you'd call the cable company and say, what the hell? And that's what we're doing here, or at least that's what I'm doing. All of a sudden, because the board didn't budget properly for the past 10 years, all the money that's been coming in for golf, all the money that's been coming in from all our amenities, now we got to put in more or ask a new person coming in to give us more money because of the errors that were made earlier. And I don't think that's right. And I think anytime you raise something like that, it should come to a vote, not an arbitrary decision by some people who actually profit by being on the board. That's my comment.
Whoa, whoa. I am going to respond to that. Every board member signs a fiduciary responsibility, a conflict of interest policy, and an ethics policy. There is no one on the board that personally gains by the sale of real estate here. Anderson's brokers are not members. They are put on the board because the CNRs allow for a declarant who is supposed to stand up for the rights of the declarant. That's what they're there for. So, when we do, there's 5 at-large members that do that. No, it's not arbitrary. Thank you for your comments, though. Okay? Anyone else? Yep.
Yes, I have a comment. Mary is my name. Now, when you presented this idea of the newcomers paying $5,000 or whatever they pay, in the question and comment, first of all, can you answer, because I wasn't here when did you present this to the meeting about, and did you have questions about it?
Yes.
Okay, then this is what I want to ask. Right. Did anybody ask the question, how will this affect the current homeowner? And did you say it's going to be a burden on the newcomer, not the homeowner? Because if you did say that, because it's negotiable, you're actually taking money out of the current homeowner if the buyer wants them to pay part of that fee. Did anybody ask the question, where is the burden of responsibility on that?
Well, here's the way we have to look at it, okay? There was a presentation done, and there was a Q&A section. There are documented Q&As on the website that you can go in and look at very many scenarios. We ask people, if they don't see their scenario in there, to please get a hold of member records, and we'll tell you what the result's going to be in terms of what you're going to be charged. Because there's different factors that look in. Like, for instance, if you're a member here and you sell your home and you buy another one, depending on when you bought and sold your homes, you may or may not have to pay any amenity fee. So there's a lot of moving parts with that. Now, having said that, we also, I know I did, I went to a real estate meeting where there was probably 70 to 100 real estate agents at that meeting and presented there all of the scenarios that we had and answered all the questions that they had about the reserve fund.
Well, I have a suggestion for you.
Now, having said that, we cannot get in the middle of a financial real estate transaction. That's up to the buyer and the seller.
You passed that resolution, and I think that if a homeowner loses money, they should present the bill to you, and you should refund them for what they lost. I think that's exactly what should happen. Anybody else agree with that? Well, actually, like you say, it's negotiable. But if, because I noticed that when in this new amendment that you said that the C owners were, would be affected by that amendment, but you said that the current owners would not be affected by, the sewers and all this stuff on the new development. So I was just wondering what you told the audience when you talked.
The presentation is still out on the website. You can go look at it.
Well, don't you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
What did you tell the people?
We had over a half an hour presentation on it, so go and please look at the website. If you have other questions, please come back to us. But it's all out there. Nothing's hidden.
Well, I know, but I mean, I would think that you would know what it was. Well, why should,
He can't stand there for half an hour and tell you everything that
Okay. Any other comments? Yeah.
I have a question and maybe.
Name?
Oh, Tom Menke.
Okay.
So I purchased a lot here 3 years ago, paid my $1,200. Purchased a house earlier this year, paid my $5,000. From my understanding, I'm going to owe another $5,000 when I build on that lot. Is that true that I'm going to be into this for over $10,000 as a new person when I'm moving from Fairfield Glade to
Go over your
Fairfield Glade?
situation again, I'm sorry.
Purchased a lot 3 years ago, paid my $1,200.
Yeah.
Purchased a house this spring, paid $5,000. When I build on that lot, from what I understand, I'm going to build another $5,000 as a new person.
So you've got 2 homes? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
No, a home and a lot, and when I build on the lot, I believe I'm going to be billed again as a new person in the community.
Because you've got different time frames in there, again, I'm going to suggest that you go over to member records. Let's take a look at all the property transfers that have happened and the timing of those, because timing on these are very important. There's certain time frames in the policy. So please go over to member records and have them look it up as you just described it, so we can get the actual official dates of the property transfers and all of that down.
Well, I guess
any answer I give you at this point is going to be a guess, because I haven't seen the actual
But the simple question
transactions.
is if an owner buys another house, if they move from one neighborhood to another, do they pay like they've never lived here before?
It depends on when they bought, when they sold, how much they paid in the amenity fee when they bought, and what the new policy says. There's a lot to this, and rather than just give you a general answer that could be very wrong, you've got to look at the specifics of when you bought, when you sold, and when you're building. So. Well, I'm going to be careful with that, Bill. I really would suggest let's come over to member records and let's look at your situation and give you your answer. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
I just have one comment.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Frederick Clore, been here probably about 7 years, I think.
Okay.
I just have one comment. I keep hearing this negotiation nonsense. All money is fungible. The negotiation is saying, I'm willing to accept this for my property. I'm willing to give you this for my property. The 5K is a scalp off the top. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
What can we do to help change this arbitrary increase process and make us more a part of it so that it doesn't happen again?
Well, we don't think it's arbitrary. The board takes very seriously our responsibility in terms of what the CNRs and bylaws have given us in terms of making fees and charges. I suppose if enough people really don't like the way it's done, the thing to do is change the CNRs and the bylaws. And there's a process for that.
Thank you.
Okay? Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I thought I would get multiple ones on that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Even more, there you go. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say yes. Yes. All opposed, nay. We stand adjourned.